Hey, we are live. Facebook Live. What's up, Mr. Jeffrey Nance?
Hello, Jared. Good to see you, my man.
You
How's it
too.
going?
So, it's good, man. It's good. The market's going crazy today, super hot. So,
Yeah.
usually when markets are moving up briskly, people are smiling. That's just the way it goes. So,
Yeah. The cool thing is, Jared, I don't know how many of you guys have joined us before, but our system is unique. It's actually really cool. I've been fascinated to be on this journey, coming from 20 years in ministry. That's my background. And then I came and started doing this about 10 years ago. And when you're in ministry, basically, if you say, I'm going to listen to a financial seminar, it's pretty much this. Like, I'll sum it up for you. Spend less money, um, get out of debt, and put whatever you can into savings. And there's your seminar. I wrapped it up for
all
you. You
good.
don't have to go now. That's it.
All good stuff,
That's the
right?
seminar right there, man. And it's not like those things are bad, right, in and of themselves. But I remember the first time I went to a Tradeway event, it was like, hey, this financial seminar. I went, well, I'll summarize that for you real quick. Came back from that and I was like, what in the world? I remember telling Brandy, my wife, I was like, they actually told me how to make money without having like a real job. That was weird. I was like, I'm going to have to go find out more about this stuff. And then I was like, if you can use this chart, apparently you can use this chart to know whether the market is going to go up or down. And then if individual stocks are going to go up or down, I was like, I don't know if they're right, but if they are, why has no one ever told me about this? This is pretty incredible stuff. And so I sat down, I was like, well, I'm going to figure out how to do this. And what's really cool, Jared, we've got a bunch of you guys that are already following us in different ways that you're involved. But if you notice, if you were on with some of the webinars that we did last night, it went up to our resistance line, Jared. And where we are right now in the market, it is tagging that resistance line, which again, you think of a resistance line like a ceiling. We're right at it today. So we talked about moving up off a moving average, going to resistance, and then it did it in such a short time, 2 days. But sometimes that's what the market does, and we talk about this a lot through all of our events, that the market leads. It's like a gorilla, and when we're dancing with a gorilla, it leads, we follow. And I know that you've gone through this whole process as well. What's it been like for you? What stood out for you about the whole process, and what do you feel like are some of the things that helped you the most to really take the next steps in your trading?
Yeah, I think it's interesting the commonalities between a couple of things you just mentioned and my experiences. I had big fat goose egg of stock market experience when I was exposed to Tradeway almost 10 years ago, about 9 years ago. And so for me it was more of a kick the tires type of deal. I guess you kind of alluded to that for yourself, right? You're like, whatever, let's go see, right? And it's just some of the stuff made so much common practical sense that I had to stop and say, this is what I meant when I said there's commonalities. I had to kind of step back and go, now wait a minute. If they're not just making these drawings up, like if what's in this book here is actually what the price did, then it really doesn't matter what anybody says, because there it is, right? Like I could just follow what it is. And that, to me, that was like, wow, that's not only powerful, but really kind of refreshing. Like, wait a minute, what it opened up to me was that there is really no limitation as long as
Yeah.
I'm willing to work within a program and a system to put that power and harness it for myself. And it was like, I just never seen anything like it before, And
Yeah,
so,
the system
yeah,
idea, because I think for some people, if they're new to us, they might be thinking, well, I've always kind of avoided the stock market, except for maybe my 401k, where I just assume that it's supposed to be growing, and they just have such little knowledge of what the market actually is and how it works. I thought that was really cool. But this idea of a system, it's like driving a car. I still don't know everything that I need to know about the market and how it works, but I know how to make the car go.
yeah,
And part of it is, it's like, we've got one of our teenagers and we're teaching him to drive, and it's a process, but you do want him driving, but you want him to have the knowledge to drive. And when you have somebody with experience that's doing it with you, I feel like it really enhances not only your ability to learn, but it compresses the amount of time that it takes you to learn something. If you're trying to learn something on your own, you certainly could do that. You could learn to do some of this stuff on your own. And Jared, you've even come up with some products that were kind of, it's like you put this together, they put this piece together, and then you're like, oh, this would work really well. And then you see how it works over time and stuff. But learning with someone is a great way to really enhance your learning, and then to decrease the amount of time that it takes to learn anything. And we offer that at so many different levels at Tradeway. And one of those particular opportunities is actually coming up. What is that, like a week from today, or yesterday, or I guess a week from yesterday, right? The 7th through the 11th. Is that what we're doing here?
That's right. Yeah, our trading boot camp. Yeah, winter trading boot camp.
So what is that?
Intensive,
what is
man.
that all about?
Well, we've done one, right? This is a fairly new thing for us that we had just really awesome feedback from. We had a good time doing it from our side, and we had really good feedback coming back at us from the client and student side. So we thought, let's do this again. And really, I think boot camp's a perfect word or description for it, because we are really kind of offering this is the way I kind of see what it is, Geoffrey. If I had to really sum it up, it's taking a whole lot of time, study time, thinking time, question asking, question answering, it's taking a whole lot of that, and not just condensing it, but condensing it in a manner where hopefully you can digest it, you can absorb it and use it, and it cuts your timetable down. So when we say boot camp, what is that? Well, Geoffrey just mentioned it's next week, December 7th through the 11th. That's 5 days. So we're going to be on there teaching live. One good thing about it, market's open Monday through Friday, right? So we're going to be doing this during live market hours. So a lot of what we've talked about internally and what we think is really powerful, what we're going to focus on a lot is actually being in front of the live market. So we're going to be teaching concepts you may be unfamiliar to you at first, but we'll be doing them in front of a live market, which is pretty unique and I think really powerful. That won't be all of it. We'll have presentations and teachings that go along with it, but we'll always be able to have this backdrop of the live market for the majority of our sessions. And 5 days of that is a lot. I mean, that's a lot. It's a lot to absorb, which is good. It's good. We want to pack as much value as we can into it for you. And we feel like we did that last time, and we feel like we've improved it. So it's going to be, I think, although our second boot camp, I think it's going to be really unique this time.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit different setup, but the idea that you can go through this course, through this material with a heavy emphasis on application. I'm sure all of you guys have learned something at some point in your educational journey. And if I were to ask you about that thing now, you'd be like, I have no clue. Like I read an old paper that I wrote when I was in seminary, Jared, and I was like, dude, I used to be smart. I don't even know what some of these words even mean anymore. It's like, wow, that was pretty good. It's like that. It's such a weird thing. But I mean, I learned Greek, I learned Hebrew, and I don't know Greek. I didn't know Greek back then. I still don't know it now. But it's because I don't use it. Yeah, well,
that's for later.
Some of them, yeah, I know. I got some of those, like the Delta and stuff. But
that's for later. Yeah.
I mean, it's education is meant to be applied, and anytime you can apply something, you're a lot more likely to actually remember it and then to do it. And just like like riding a bike, the more you do it, the more comfortable you become with it, the more likely you are to do it. And especially if you enjoy it. Think about it, Jared. You don't do a lot of things that you don't really enjoy, but you don't have to be pressured to go do something you enjoy. And if we can take stock trading and turn it into something that's enjoyable, and you're going to be inclined to want to go do it, but you're not going to want to do it unless you feel comfortable with not only like how it works, but the concept of why it works. And that's really going to be a focus of what we're doing. We're going to be bringing those two things together. How does it work? Why does it work? And why can you have confidence in your ability to apply these things? That's going to be a heavy focus of that boot camp. Not unlike somebody that would go to a boot camp where they're going to go through and they're going to do the push-ups, the sit-ups, the pull-ups, the whole thing. but they better not come out of that with the ability to do less than they went into it with. You know, like if you say, I used to be able to do 10 pull-ups and now I went through boot camp and I can do 3, I'm like, that wasn't ideal. Like,
absent some kind of injury, that is not the right
that's right.
trajectory.
Yeah, unless something happened there, it's like you ought to see an increase, and that's what we're also hoping to do with this. We're hoping that you'll see an increase, either in your knowledge, your application, your ability to do this stuff, or all the above. That's why that'd be great, right? To see an increase in all the above, so that you walked out of that experience and you felt like, all right, I'm ready for that next step, whatever the next step looks like for you as an individual trader. And after 5 days of what I would say is going to be pretty intense learning, you ought to have a pretty good idea of what that next step needs to look like for you, and what you want it to look like for you.
I'm going to key on one little, well, 2 pieces, but one thing you said there that I think is important. And by the way, for anybody who wants info, I posted in the chat a link you can click on, check out what we're offering there for the boot camp. But how many of you have done something? You mentioned the workout. I was thinking of the dieting because it's just kind of the obvious example that people know. But like, how many of you have done a diet, started a diet, maybe even just plan to start a diet? Everything in your head is like the good intentions thing, right? I mean, everything, you had it figured out, you were so excited about it, and just kind of never did anything. Or started and just, man, yeah, I like cheeseburgers, or, you know, whatever. You name it, right? Like, you didn't continue. I mean, at some point, everything that you learn has to be moved into an application world. Otherwise, it won't affect change in your life, right? So although boot camp is clearly designed to teach you stuff, I mean, you have to know stuff in order to do stuff. What we want to do is accelerate your plan so that coming out of boot camp, you are moving into the application phase faster than you would have had you not had it. Now, that doesn't mean every person comes out on Friday afternoon and they're ready to go take a stock trade, okay? Everybody is different. But no matter who you are, our goal is for that to be a big kind of boosting launching pad for you, so you're not spending months and months and months learning some of these things, but 5 days. So
Right.
your process moves faster and you're getting to application, because outside of the application, it's cool to know fun stuff, and you know, it's cool to have a whole bunch of market knowledge, but I mean, if you don't do anything with it, how is it affecting you and your family? So we want this to be a mechanism where both happen, right? We really get you with some intense learning, but that you have in your mind as you're going through this, the application is where you need to be. That's where you're going to have to end up. And I think we've put this together in a way where that is, we've prepared you for that. So if that's something that you're looking to do, if you really want a kind of a jump start, you know, this is really a boot camp. We're going to get into a lot of stuff. We're going to be looking at live market charts. We're going to be setting things up, showing charting. We're going to be talking about patterns. We're going to be talking about trading mindset, all kinds of broad spectrum of stuff. So all of these things, again, I just wanted to key, because you said something important, is intended to move you into action within your own comfort zone, right? I mean, that's what the goal is.
Yeah. And you know, Jared, when you have teachers, I know all of you guys that have been through school, there were certain teachers you just connected with more than others. Like they had an ability to say things a certain way, or to just resonate with you in a certain way. And we've got, I mean, it's not, I'm going to be there, you're going to be there, but we've got several other people that are joining us too, that are some of our, students' favorite Tradeway teachers. So this is kind of a big event for us, where we got a lot of people that are going to be there teaching you with different trading styles. And I think that is a strength of our team, is that we do have people that approach this from such different angles, but they're all still teaching the same subject. It's just sometimes you hear it a certain way and then it clicks and you're like, that's what I needed to hear. But because you heard it a certain way, phrase from a certain person or coming from a certain person's mouth, let's admit it, it happens, right? You're like, oh, I've never heard that before till Jared said it. And I'm like,
no, you heard it before.
I pretty much said that last week. But they're like, but I wasn't Jared. So I think that's helpful too, to hear from a variety of people. And we're going to have that. And they're going to be coming from different perspectives. We've got people, I mean, from ministry backgrounds to, working with computers, building clouds, to being in physical therapy. And I just like the wide range of people we have teaching this is really all over the place. And that benefits you guys, because that means we bring our life experiences to this, and then our own personal teaching style. And again, it's 5 days of that kind of intense teaching with the different personalities. It's certainly something that if you have the opportunity, I would like to see as many of you as possible take advantage of it.
Yeah, I can only add one thing, and it's probably, well, I can almost guarantee this. We can't possibly hit on everything you're going to get. I mean, we're trying to give you the gist of the value of it. Gosh, we know what the itinerary looks like, and it is packed. So when we say we're trying to accelerate you and move you to the next level into that activity realm, that is really the goal. I think we're putting that together. So look, if that's a place you're at where you're saying, if I don't make this real, it'll never be real. If I don't do something, take a real step, then I can't be real. It's always going to be over here in that information, phase. I think boot camp's something you should absolutely consider. And again, the info's up there for you to click on the link there and check it out. And I know I'm excited to be there. Again, we've got multiple teachers, tons of content ready for you. So if you have questions, you can always email us, support@tradeway.com. If you have concerns, questions, or, you missed a piece of what you think we're offering, but I'm ready to do it. I think it's going to be fun. I think we'll even improve on something I think we did well last time. So looking forward to it, man. I know Geoffrey and I will be spending some time together on there, so it'll be good.
We will, Jared. I mean, like I said, it is an intense training session intended to take you to the next step so that you can see where you are. And just like riding a bike, there's different levels of riding a bike. I mean, we can go for a little family bike ride around the neighborhood, and if that's kind of where you want to be, then we got something for you there. If you're like, hey, I kind of want to go ride 13, 15, 20, 50, 100 miles, all right, we got stuff for that. Or you're like, you know what, I want to go ride the Tour de France. I'm like, all right, we got stuff at that level too. So that's what's cool too, is you get to decide where you want to go, but we've got something for you. We just want you to decide what that looks like and figure out how to get there.
Very good. Very good. You'll be able to individualize what we're going to teach you for you. And I think that's a key you just touched on that everybody can take away from this, regardless of whether you come to boot camp. Obviously, we highly recommend that you consider it. You need to wrap your head around the fact that trading will not be I give you the boxes, you check them off, and you become successful. That's how it starts, right? And then you realize, oh, wow, the way Geoffrey teaches this piece of this information just makes so much sense to me. Check that box, put it in your plan. That's going to be your process as a trader. I think boot camp is one of the best ways to kind of get you from A to Z, so to speak, in your information process so that you can move into action faster. So anyway, I'm ready for it. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be powerful. I'm looking forward to all the live market time. We're going to do a lot more of that than we have in the past, which I think that's the most fun as a teacher and a trader. And I think the best way to learn. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, man. Hope all you can join us. Anybody who has questions, again, email us, support@tradeway.com, and be glad to get your questions answered. So, all right, buddy. Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate the thoughts. Right. Yeah. Geoffrey will be itching to see you on the boot camp.
Sure thing.
All right, man. Y'all have a good day.